All right, welcome back. I wanted to talk about PCI compliancy. So PCI compliancy is a big hot button in the industry right now, and the basic root of it is to protect credit cards from being stolen. The ramifications of credit cards being stolen is that they get used elsewhere. There's a cost of replacement. There's a lot of risk and loss behind the scenes. So it's basically one of the big hot buttons right now with all the technology. Everybody's going to PC-based solutions and web-based solutions, mobile-based, everything. So ultimately, what Visa, MasterCard, Discover, everyone's trying to do is really just lock some of these down. It's gotten so loose over the years that people are storing credit card numbers on text files, on Excel files. They'll have an unsecured text file sitting on their desktop, and it will actually say the word credit card numbers. And somebody gets into your computer, and they can start searching for the word credit card or whatever it may be, or key BIN numbers and such, and next thing you know, they have all of your credit card data. So it's called PCI Compliancy. Payment card industry is basically talking about that. And technically, what they're trying to convey is that credit card numbers on your system, in your desk, in your office, in paperwork, anywhere, it's technically toxic. You don't want to have it in your office. You don't want to have it anywhere. An employee, a disgruntled employee could steal it. Somebody could break into your office and steal it. Somebody could break in electronically just through your network with spyware and steal it. So there's a lot of different ways they can get that data. And so your responsibility as a merchant, as you'll read in a lot of terms of services, is that you have an obligation to protect that credit card data. There's also, they kind of reverse engineer it into privacy laws. So some states will say, you didn't properly protect my data. So it could be my name and address and everything else. So you have an obligation as a merchant to protect people's privacy, so including credit card numbers. And so that's kind of a loophole that comes around. But basically, there are a couple different companies. We use TrustKeeper. They are basically the industry standard, phenomenal wizard, and it's a tool that you go through. It's a questionnaire, and if you use a computer, it goes through, it's called an IP scan. And it's basically just like installing Norton antivirus or any other kind of antivirus tool. It runs a scan, make sure that you're clean, make sure you don't have any ports sitting wide open that could be vulnerabilities in the future. So it does help your network, like if you're your office, to see if your office is vulnerable also. So it's a good tool to have even outside of credit card processing. It's just a great antivirus tool to have. And then the questions are called SAQs and such. And those are basically just answering and telling you the Mr. Obvious. Are you writing down credit card numbers on Post-it notes? Are you securing them? Are you writing them on text files that are not locked down? Who has access to them? Do your employees make backup copies of your computers? Do you have a website developer or somebody else that has access to your PCs that could have access to that data? Where do you keep your backup files, your thumb drives? All those type of questions. Other companies are called Security Metrics, Control Scan. They all basically do the same thing, but we decided to go with TrustKeeper just because it's a great, easy to use tool. On average, it's about $96 a year across all these different ones. Some are a few bucks more, some are a few bucks less, depending on what they are. Typically now what they do is a few bucks per month. Instead of charging one time per month, or per year, they'll just do a monthly charge. And basically that kind of throws you into this insurance bucket. It's technically what it's doing. It's called breach insurance. And so with TrustKeeper, we're doing $100,000 of breach coverage, as they call it, right? So breach coverage means that if you got your credit card number stolen for whatever reason, even if you didn't do the test, if you got them stolen, then you're not compliant, right? So if you get stolen and then you get fined, you have a $100,000 insurance policy that will cover you, technically. So they don't like to call it insurance, but technically, if you think about it, it kind of is. So what happens is Visa discovers that you lost 1,000 credit card numbers, and it uses all of its database tools to narrow down to patient zero. You're patient zero. 1,000 credit card numbers came from you, and they can prove that by running the charges and how they got there. So they go all over the country, they're charging, and they figured out this is where it came from. And even if you didn't get it stolen, if they think that you're patient zero, you lose. It's called a forensic investigation. It's kind of like the feds come in and say, we think that you're running drugs or something like that, and you can't say no. They just come in and say, well, we're going to come in for questioning. That's called a forensics investigation. For dial-up terminals, it might be $8,000. It might be up to typically $20,000 to $25,000 for computer-based or IP-based, anybody using a PC, basically. So right off the bat, you get Visa literally pulls that money right out of your checking account, and you cannot get it back. This $100,000 would cover that money. So then the next piece is the fines. So if you did do something wrong and you left a text file out there, then of course you're going to get fined and penalized by Visa because you didn't do the Mr. Obvious to protect that data. The card replacement cost might be anywhere from $1 to $10 per card. So if Bank of America is going to replace 1,000 credit cards and they want to overnight them, they might charge $10 per card. So they're going to send out 1,000 credit cards back to their customers. And then there's a cost involved with changing my credit card number because I have recurring billing set up, everything else. And then the actual losses. So if they steal my credit card number from you, the merchant, and they go out and bought furniture or whatever it may be, some software, some passes, gasoline, all those things, that has an actual monetary dollar loss, and who knows how much that could be. That could be hundreds of thousands of dollars. And typically what they find is that fines could be maybe up to, like, say, $70,000. This was a good example I heard. And so then you have the $25,000 plus about a $75,000 loss in cash. And so basically that $100,000 thing covered it. Typically, most people there's not a lot of breaches. Right now, they claim about 400 to 500 per year out of 10 million merchants. So there's a very minimal amount. However, small businesses are being attacked, large businesses, Michaels and everybody else just got hacked. Here we are, 2011, and that number is getting bigger and bigger and bigger as all these cyber fraud is occurring. So anyway, that's a little bit about PCI compliancy. It might seem kind of like, oh, why do I need this? Why do I need this? But technically, it's insuring you against forensics and any potential losses. So hope that helps.